Welcome to Community Crypto on CoinDesk TV, where we're building a global community with local crypto groups. I'm your host, Isaiah Jackson, and every week we'll explore how crypto is creating and impacting various communities around the world. This week, we discuss how the Bitcoin and NFT marketplace can become mainstream with the help of celebrities and thought leaders. I'm joined now by actor, producer, and New York Times bestselling author, Lala Anthony. Welcome to the show, Lala.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, so glad to have you on. Big fan of your work.
I have all the questions for you. I would rather interview you than you interview me because you know way more about this stuff than I do. But I think it's great everyone has to start somewhere. That's how I look at it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This market doesn't discriminate. Everybody has to get in where they can, and then
exactly.
Go
from there. I just looked on my Gemini account just now. I was like, oh, it's at 63,000 right now. Like it can get addictive, so sometimes I gotta slow myself down because I'm literally just like, what's going, But I was just like, wow.
Trust me. When I started in this market, I had a full head of hair, and staring at charts is what got me here. So.
And how many do you have? Multiple screens up, and it gets really
used to
wild.
Used to. I had to bring it down to one screen though. That was too stressful, but it is fun.
Okay. It
is fun. Yeah, but who actually introduced you to Bitcoin, or how did you hear about it?
I had always heard about it, but I think, and this is something that you can probably speak to as well. I think sometimes a lot of us we become very skeptical of everything. We always think I don't know, we're just skeptics when it comes to certain things. So I heard about it for a while, but I wasn't sure what it was and wasn't really paying attention to it. And finally, the more I kept hearing about it, I said, okay, you got to pay attention. You got to find out what this is really about. And then I started doing research and asking lots of questions and trying to learn. And I'm still learning. I always start these interviews by saying, I am not a crypto expert. I am not a Bitcoin expert. I'm learning just like everyone else is, but I'm just fascinated with cryptocurrency and just watching, what's happening like the rest of us.
Oh yeah, it's exciting times, right? I mean, we got the all-time high in Bitcoin. Definitely. We have all these different projects coming out in crypto.
Ether's
DeFi.
Going crazy too. I'm like, it's wild. Yeah,
and it's hard to keep up. I mean, I've been in the industry almost a decade, and I still can't keep up with it all. But we see where the future's headed, and all you can do is learn as much as possible, right? So.
Yeah, that's why I said I should be interviewing you. But I'm here to answer all the questions you have. And then maybe afterwards, I have some questions for you.
All good. So, you heard about Bitcoin, you got into the market, and you are quoted as saying that Bitcoin is the new gold. And I would be interested to know, what properties of Bitcoin do you think makes it the new gold for the future?
I mean, just like when you could just see traditional money just going out of style, so to speak, and crypto just becoming the new currency. And it's just like everywhere you go now, all these businesses are popping up more and more saying, they're now accepting Bitcoin, or they're now doing business through Bitcoin. You have casinos that are now just Bitcoin and crypto based. I mean, it's happening everywhere, all around us. It's no escaping it. It just feels like the way things are moving, you're getting past the traditional dollar and going into cryptocurrency. Again, if anything I'm saying is not correct, please correct me because you're the expert, and I just want to make sure that. But that's how I personally feel from my own research. It's just something that it just can't be ignored anymore.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that last statement. It can't be ignored. At this point, if you're not paying attention, you're either living under a rock or you're trying to ignore it. There are a few people that are like, all right, I can't get into this market.
There's so many people that I know, friends of mine who do extremely well, who have currently no interest in it because they just feel like, again, skeptics, a scam, this can't be real, this can't really be happening. But again, the more you see it, the more you realize you at least have to pay attention to what's going on.
Earlier you mentioned you were on your Gemini app checking the price of Bitcoin, which is at 63,000 today. Everybody's excited, all-time high. But when you mentioned Gemini, can you tell us a little bit more about your partnership with Gemini that you formed recently?
So Gemini was brought to me by a friend, and then I connected with Tyler and his brother, who also obviously helped create Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg. This is their app. And I just love that it's an app that's easy to understand when it comes to crypto. I love that there's a 24-hour support system. I'm one of those people who always have questions. And I just love, how easy it is and how I was able to learn a lot through the app as well. And I love having access to, I speak to Tyler, having access to someone who's so smart in this space and just smart all around. So it's a great to be part of their family and their community. So Gemini has been really great for me in that standpoint, and just wanting to be, a person that kind of was involved from the beginning of Gemini and uses, the platform for anything related to crypto in my life.
Absolutely. And Gemini recently, they purchased Nifty Gateway for NFTs. Yes. Any plans to make NFTs?
Yeah, definitely plans there. Definitely plans there. It's another thing that you would just be hearing about, like, okay, what is this NFT thing? What is this? And then when you finally understand, it's like there's such a market for it, and it's so many cool things that can be done there. So many cool projects. So definitely the next step for me is developing my first NFT and what's that going to be, and really hitting that NFT market as well. But it's also exciting. It's also, so for me, it's still so new, exciting, and definitely something that I'm trying to get involved in from multiple angles.
Oh yeah. So when you come out with the NFTs, let me know so I can be one of the first to bid, so I can go ahead and get my
Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely will. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Especially being a big fan of you, being on Power, loved your role on Power. And of course, we've had a number of projects over the years. I mean, you're Lala from MTV. I mean, come on, man. Like we all know you. So, just being able to see you over the years, I can only imagine what NFTs you can come up with from those.
I'm excited about it.
We all are, definitely. And one thing I wanted to touch on too is, as a celebrity, people know your face. They, know who you are. Oftentimes when you speak out about something financial, Bitcoin or maybe NFTs or crypto, you sort of get a bad rep because they're like, "Where did you come from? You don't know what you're talking about." Do you see that a little bit from people?
I mean, I think as celebrities, you get a bad rap about anything. If I post a picture with a green shirt on, they're going to say I hate it because it's not a red shirt. It's just what it is. So I'm used to that. My thing is, why not applaud and support or compliment a person who's trying to understand the space and become educated, so that they can then inform family and friends who want to have generational wealth for their families? Like, why knock somebody about that? I never said I was an expert. I said I'm learning, which is why I'm serious about wanting to talk to you off record and get some more information. I have a lot of questions as I'm going through my process of learning. But the more I know, the more I can spread amongst, especially African American and Hispanic families who want to build generational wealth. I mean, I'm not a person that keeps it all to myself. I have my mom, my brother, my cousins. They're all on the Gemini app now, doing whatever makes sense for their yearly income when it comes to investing in cryptocurrency. Like, why not? The more I know, the more knowledge I can put out there to our communities and our people, because it always seems like we're left behind when it comes to this type of stuff.
Absolutely. And, I hate the fact that a lot of times people do misconstrue the fact that celebrity speaking out means that they're saying they're an expert. It's like, no, I have a voice. Right. This is what I found. I did my research. To this point, this is what I know. This is what I can tell you. And as somebody who teaches, I applaud a lot of celebrities for speaking out, because, myself, I can say it all day. Nobody will listen. Lala Anthony shows up and says it. Now you got the ear. And that's why we need people like you with that influence.
But that's why I've been told you with your book, The Bitcoin and Black America, like that was one of the first books that was introduced to me to learn about Bitcoin. And I've ordered the book and want to read it. Like the knowledge is out there. There's no shortage of information. It's just about learning it. And I want to learn it inside out so I can speak about it the way you can and talk and educate our communities, about it, because it's super important. And like we both said, it's not something that can be ignored anymore. So at the least, do some research, get some information about it before you decide to invest. But let's just start learning together all about it.
So with that being said, of course, we want Black and brown communities. We want all communities to be able to benefit from this market. So one of the benefits, like you stated before, is that we can create generational wealth. And I'll be interested to know, what are some of the steps you're taking to ensure this generational wealth in these communities with cryptocurrency?
Just looking at everybody's, finances and saying, okay, taking 1 to 2% of your net worth and investing that in crypto is so this way that if God forbid something ever does go wrong, you didn't put your entire life savings in it, but watching that grow and weekly putting a set amount that works for your finances. Like, I don't know, I don't know everyone's finances. So whatever makes sense, what my mom does every week, what my brother does is different from what I do, but every week consistently putting a little bit in the cryptocurrency market and just watching what happens, but in no way putting an amount that can hurt you, so to speak. Like, you're not putting everything you earned in there. I wouldn't advise that, but taking a small amount and just watching the market and watching what it does.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And like you said, Lala's not telling you to go all in. She's not saying take your money and just throw it into the market. Be smart. No. You have to do your own research and always use risk management. Definitely. So so you can win in this market. Absolutely. So one thing that has the generational wealth piece is just informing family and friends on how to do that within their comfort zone and whatever makes sense for them. Lala, as somebody who's in the movie industry, you work in film and TV. Do you think there will ever be a day where the industry will be able to pay their employees in Bitcoin?
Absolutely. I think that's the way things are going. Like, you just see so many companies turning into using cryptocurrency, and you hear about people getting paid in cryptocurrency. I think that's going to definitely be the way that the market is moving. I do believe that.
Yeah, and if you request it, and
I'm
they
even
say
asking
no,
sometimes. I'm like, pay me in Bitcoin. Like, can you? Like, I'm asking now sometimes for some of this promo stuff I do or whatever. Can I just get paid in Bitcoin? And some are totally for it. Some are not yet there. But for the most part, it's not a foreign concept to people when you bring it up.
Exactly. And the more people keep saying it, the more they have to recognize it, because I have a friend in the industry, and a lot of people may not know this, but they still get checks. You all still get paper checks, right?
Yeah.
What is this, 1973?
In the mail sometimes. Like,
in the mail, yeah. Because like I said, exactly. My friend that's in the industry, he'll do a job and get a paper check 2 months later. It's like, what? It's like, it's 2021. It's time for it, right?
It is. It's kind of crazy from that. But I have another. I told you this is my interview now. I've taken over. But I have a question for you. Like, because this is something I want to know. What do you advise people who do want to learn more about cryptocurrency? Like, sometimes, honestly, let's just be real. Sitting on the computer, reading all this stuff gets just as confusing sometimes. Watching, things, they're using language that we might not all be familiar with. Like, what's an easy way for people to really just learn about cryptocurrency in your opinion?
Well, I'm a little biased, but I would say Bitcoin Black America is a good way to start. Very simple. I wrote it for 8th grade reading level, so everybody could get their information. Also, I would say meetups, meeting people in person, being able to reach out and touch. I had a book tour. I've had meetups. I've planned. When you can actually talk to people, the questions you have specifically, they can answer it. That's why, like you said, when you watch online, you're like, all right, I have questions, but nobody's answering it specifically for me. I think
and I'm definitely an in-person type of person. I'm like, look at this.
Likewise.
So what does this mean? What do I do now? Like, I'm that person, so I totally understand that. But yeah, definitely, I'm saying Bitcoin and Black America because before even knowing, I honestly didn't even know you were the person interviewing me today. I've always heard about the book.
Surprise.
Always. I know, but I've always heard about it and always been told this is like your start in Bitcoin. Read this book. I mean, it's talked about so much. So congratulations to you for that, because with me not even knowing who you were, I knew the book, and it's something that I promise you I hear about all the time.
I appreciate that so much. I can't wait for you to read, and for your friends and family to read as well. Definitely. And you and like I said, with meetups, again, if you want to throw a joint meetup, Lala, let me know. Meet up in LA. We can do it.
That's actually not a bad idea. I'm telling you, you think I'm playing. As soon as this interview's over, your phone's going to ring and you're like, hello. I'm like, hey, it's La. So what we doing with this Bitcoin real quick?
Hey, that's fine with me. Let's do it.
I look forward to connecting with you. I can't wait for that.
Absolutely. And I got one more question for you, Lala, before we finish up here. We have to go, but in the year 2040, all right, 20 years from now, have a little bit more gray in the beard, will be a little bit older. Where do you think the price of Bitcoin will be, and how will the rest of the market develop?
2040. I'm just gonna 2040. Where will Bitcoin be? I'm just going to throw a random number out there. I don't know. I could see it over 500,000.
500,000, yeah, that's fair.
I
And
could
I
see it
mean,
over
there's a lot of there's a lot of economics to
But I know
support that. So
I don't know. I see it over 500,000, but I only hear about it going to like 200, and that's what you and I are going to talk about because I want to know what happens after that part. Like when it peaks to where it's supposed to, then what? Like trust me, I have a lot of questions.
oh yeah, no problem. Actually, Bitcoin has no peak. I can go ahead and answer that for you. But that price point by 2040, if you're saying 500,000, I think that's a fair guess.
What are you saying?
And then by 2040, I'm a little bit more bullish. I think Bitcoin will be about 10 million, one Bitcoin. And then the rest of the crypto market as a whole, I think it'll be a trillion, multi-trillion dollar industry. Yeah.
10 million?
Yes. And I'm not telling everybody, this is not financial advice to throw it all in because of that. I just,
go ahead and tell
on my side, have done the economics.
Some more money in this Gemini account right now.
Hey, all I'm gonna tell people is it was harder to see Bitcoin go from $0 to 60,000 than it is to go from where we are now to what we're projecting. So in 2040, I don't think it'll be that far-fetched for those numbers to come about. I think it'll just be a different way we look at it. We may not even say the word Bitcoin anymore, maybe just Satoshis, right? Wow. I think that's where we'll go. And the rest of the crypto market, for example, NFTs, where do you think you'll see or NFTs will be in the year 2021? I just see
NFTs being more of a mainstream thing where your artists, your celebrities, are just relying on NFTs now. I just see it going completely. I don't know about 2040, but I'm saying even now, I just see it going completely mainstream to where your favorite artists and artists in general just have to pay attention to it and now are using it as a tool for marketing, promotion, selling, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't see this market slowing down, and I'm so glad to have you on again.
I'm so glad I met you. I have so many questions. I can't wait to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. Likewise, I can't either. So glad to have you on the show. I appreciate you so much, Lala.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a great interview, and you will be hearing from me soon. Thank you so much.
I look forward to it. That was Lala Anthony. And coming up next, we discuss the business side of the NFT market.
We are witnessing the greatest paradigm shift in finance in modern history. Join thousands of newsmakers and influencers talking the future of money at Consensus by CoinDesk. A live virtual experience of leaders, changemakers, virtual reality meetups, keynotes from Ray Dalio, Gary Vaynerchuk, and much more. Get an up-close look at the boom in crypto, the surge of institutional investment in Bitcoin, NFT mania, the breakneck innovation in decentralized finance, and the coming disruption from central bank digital currencies. Join us May 24th to May 27th for Consensus by CoinDesk.
Welcome back to Community Crypto on CoinDesk TV. This week, we're exploring the intersection of celebrities and the growing NFT market. You just heard from Lala Anthony on the celeb side. Now, let's discuss the business side. I'm joined now by Duncan Cock Foster, co-founder of Nifty Gateway. He and his brother Griffin started Nifty Gateway in 2018 to solve access issues and plan to have 1 billion people using NFTs. Welcome to the show, Duncan. So what problems did you see in the NFT market before you founded Nifty Gateway?
Yeah, that's a great question. We started Nifty Gateway back in 2018, and essentially our main goal was to make NFTs easier to access. It's kind of funny because back then really no one knew what an NFT was or really cared. And frankly, we told our family and friends what we were doing, and they all thought it was kind of ridiculous. But we thought that NFTs would have a much better chance of achieving mainstream adoption if regular people could access them. The story I always like to tell about this is the story of our investor, Adam Draper, who's an investor in over 100 crypto companies, definitely not a crypto newbie by any means, but he was trying to receive a CryptoKitty as a gift, not even purchase one. He was just trying to receive one as a gift. And he said he spent 4 hours and then gave up. And that was his experience with NFTs. And Griffin and I basically said, this is never going to be a mainstream technology if that's the user experience for most people. And that was really the founding vision behind Nifty Gateway.
Nice. So shout out to Adam Draper for having the 4-hour wait that launched this vision. Because hey, sometimes good things come out of bad. So that experience pushed to today. And what is it like starting a business with your twin brother?
I actually think it's probably easier than starting a business with someone else because you already know each other pretty well. You know, you have like similar working styles, you have a similar view on the world. And then you can be really direct and honest with any sort of sibling in a way that it can be hard to be with someone that you just met. So I actually think it's a pretty good, and really you see a lot of businesses that were founded by brothers or family members, I think for that exact reason.
Oh yeah. And much like you all, the Winklevoss twins, right? You have twins teaming up, building companies, changing the world, right? So, just speaking on them and their ownership with Gemini, how did the acquisition from Gemini, how did that come about?
That also came from Adam Draper. It was actually it kind of started because of that whole thing as well, where Adam was like, hey, you guys are identical twins. The Winklevoss twins are identical twins. Maybe you guys should see if there's some way you could work together. And we basically got really lucky because the Winklevoss twins were really interested in the NFT space. I think they were looking to do something, and Nifty Gateway just sort of fit the profile of a company that they wanted to work with. And the whole twin thing, that is what everyone loves to talk about because it's sort of an amazing coincidence. But I do think it's just a coincidence. Yeah.
Hey man, like we always say, man, the more the merrier. So if you have two people that are on the same path, those companies definitely will succeed. And I know working with the Winklevoss twins, there's a lot of back and forth with that. But I must say, I hope Adam Draper has some equity because he's definitely been somewhere in the middle of all of this. So shout out to him. But on the Nifty Gateway website, beautiful. Scoured it a few times getting into the NFT market. But I've noticed that you had DJ Steve Aoki, who's a popular DJ, as well as others like Calvin Harris, DJ Premier coming up soon with their NFT drop. So how exactly do you see NFTs impacting the music industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've always been really excited about the possibilities for music NFTs. The way I look at it is this is basically a new form of artistic expression for musicians. I like to say that if you're a creative person, there's two ways that you can monetize your craft. You can either charge people a fee to consume it, or you can like turn it into a collectible and let people collect it. Musicians really, historically, they've only been able to do the former, where the only way for them to monetize their music is to, charge people a fee to listen to it on Spotify or charge people a fee to go to their live show. And they've never been able to turn music into a collectible. NFTs really give them the first opportunity to do that. And now they can have careers that are more similar to painters or sculptors than traditional musicians. Mm-hmm. I still think we're really early though. I think NFTs are a difficult creative medium. They're kind of unforgiving and it's not easy. So you really have to be determined and you have to be really talented in order to make it as an NFT artist. But I think long-term, we will see musicians who basically make their entire living the way that painters or sculptors make their living, where they occasionally sell NFTs, they have a passionate collector base, maybe they do some live shows and release some music on Spotify, but primarily they make their living from NFTs. I think that's the long term of what we'll see.
Oh yeah, and I agree with you there. And I've always wanted to ask, do you think NFTs may become the Napster of today, changing music labels' entire business model? Because if a person has an NFT, they sell it, they get crypto, how will they make their money? Do you think the business models will change because of that?
Yeah, I definitely think the business models will change. And honestly, it seems to me like the record labels and everyone in the music industry thinks so as well. And they're all basically like jumping on top of this, trying to lead the way. I don't really know what the exact future will look like, but I think it'll definitely be different.
Yeah. And it's slow at first, like you said, nobody was talking about it. And then all at once, right? Now you have record labels, you have NBA Top Shot, you have, all these big organizations trying to capitalize off the NFT market. So outside of music, how do you think NFTs may impact the art and auction market that we currently have?
Well, from my perspective, art has sort of been the main use case for NFTs so far. I think if you look at the market cap, the most valuable NFTs do largely tend to be art NFTs. I actually think the three highest sales records are artworks by people. And then the fourth one I think is Edward Snowden. if you just look at the most expensive NFTs ever sold. And yeah, I think that there's sort of like NFTs are a really natural fit for art. I mean, the same way that it's really easy to explain to someone what Bitcoin is by saying, oh, it's just digital gold. It's really easy to explain what an NFT is by just saying, hey, it's lets you collect digital art the same way that you collect physical art. So I think it's just really easy for people to understand. And that's why it has the most traction out of any use case. And then also I think I like to talk about NFTs, the culture, versus NFTs, the technology, as sort of two distinct things, because there really is this unique culture that's grown up around NFTs. And there's a group of people who are really dedicated to them and who they wake up, they live, breathe, their entire life is dedicated to NFTs. And that's really focused around art NFTs. So yeah, I think NFTs, the culture it's really focused around like finding new artists, elevating them, artists who, are not making it in the traditional art world, are making a lot of money through NFTs. And I think that's a very cool thing.
Yes. And I love that the access and like you said, the word culture, I love that that's spreading. And the NFT culture, I think a lot of people don't realize, very beautiful community, a lot of people that help each other. They understand as artists trying to build each other up work. So I'm glad you brought up the culture. And with that, one of the things I think NFTs can support are kids getting into the crypto market. This may be one of the easiest ways. Have you explored anything as a company to maybe work with kids to create their own NFTs to sort of get into the market?
That's a really interesting idea. That's not something that we've really focused on, but that kind of seems like low hanging fruit waiting to happen. A lot of our collector base, some of them are quite young. Some of them are still teenagers. So it does seem like it's really appealing to like a very young demographic. And actually a lot of successful NFT artists, I think, are very, very young. Fawocious comes to mind. Fawocious is only 18. And, he's already one of the best known NFT artists. So yeah, we haven't explored the NFTs for kids angle. So, sorry if you see us come up with a product like that, I'll make sure to give you credit.
That's all good. I got a summer camp you can help out. That's all good. It's a bunch of stuff that can go into it. But yeah, I think like you just said, there's a lot of teenagers that are getting into this market, and I don't think people understand that their mindset is totally different from people who have seen the old way. This is how they're growing up. And I think that would be beautiful for Nifty Gateway to get involved. So I think there are a lot of kids that can benefit from this market. And if you do come up with the idea, I'll get my 10%. I got you. But with that being said, as far as things working on in the future, what NFT drops in 2021 are you excited about seeing?
Yeah, that's a great question. At Nifty Gateway, we're really trying to figure out how to navigate this ever-changing NFT market, because it feels so dynamic and it feels like it's moving a million miles a minute. I think coming into the year, our focus was we always thought it would be a good idea to do partnerships with sort of, well-known people who had a large following, basically as a way to bring more attention to the NFT space. But now I feel like the NFT space, it almost has too much attention. And, you can't open Twitter without reading about someone making an NFT. And I think there's kind of like a growing backlash against new people getting into NFTs who don't really understand it. I feel like people who are really involved in NFTs, the culture, are concerned about that culture, going away as this idea becomes more mainstream. So I think Nifty Gateway, our focus is really, we're going to be focusing on onboarding artists and creators into NFTs the right way, and really trying to do more to make sure that we have people who are focused on this for the long term, and not so much people who are showing up to sort of, dip their toe or do this once and then never do it again. I think that's going to be our focus, long term. So there's a lot of artists that I'm really, really excited about. Some of them I can talk about, some of them I can't talk about. But, we have a big Beeple release coming up this weekend. That's going to be really exciting. Yeah.
Yes. Saw that. Yeah, definitely. Beeple's he's been killing it lately.
He's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And of course, with Beeple coming, and like you said, with celebrities coming on board, you touched on it, but I want you to kind of go deeper. Do you think people actually think most celebrities are just doing this as a fad? And what do you think you can do to combat that?
Look, I mean, I do think that that perception is sort of out there. And frankly, if you're a celebrity trying to come into the space, you're almost working from a disadvantage because people, like some people will just view you as a celebrity hopping on the NFT train, regardless of what your intentions are, which is kind of unfortunate. Um, I think the best way to combat that is to really sort of immerse yourself in NFTs, the culture, and get on Twitter, talk with other collectors, talk with people in the community, really get to know what people value and what people care about. I think there are a few, there are a few easy things to do to make sure that you stay in the NFT collector's good graces. Like, everyone is so proud of the fact that NFT artists get a royalty whenever an NFT is resold. That's like a huge part of NFTs, the culture, I think, because everyone prides themselves on making NFTs more fair. So, supporting that. And then the other thing I would say is, if you're really concerned about being perceived the wrong way, maybe just wait 3 months, 6 months. And then NFTs will not be the hot thing anymore. And no one will be suspicious when you try and enter the market. When we started Nifty Gateway, that's kind of the situation we were in, where it was really, CryptoKitties had come out in 2017 and there was this huge burst of hype and excitement. But then the NFT market just sort of was in decline. It became kind of dormant. And so, it was really easy to get into NFTs back then. No one questioned your motivations because there was no motivation to get in besides a true love of the art and technology, which honestly, that's been true of crypto as well for
Absolutely. I'm with you 100% because I tell people all the time, anybody that started a business in 2018, congratulate them when you see them, because that bear market was brutal across the board. And we saw the network of users that showed up just for the quick entry and exit. They're coming back now. And now I think that's why we see so much attention because now they don't want to leave. So I'm glad you stated that, definitely. And have one more question for you before we get out. Hate that we have to end it. Learn so much from you. What will the NFT market look like in the year 2040? So with all the new innovations coming, new people coming into the market, what will the market look like in 2040, and how will Nifty Gateway be a part of it?
Oh, well, wow, that's that's a tough one, honestly. As I said, I think we'll see huge growth in both NFTs, the culture, and NFTs, the technology, which I do like to talk about as two separate concepts. So I think, we'll see NFT as sort of an art collecting activity. I think by 2040, it'll be larger than the physical art market. I like to, the reason I think it'll be larger than the physical art market is just because the logistics of it are so much easier. I like to compare it to Uber, where Uber expanded the transportation market by making it way easier to call an Uber than a taxi. It's so much easier to get started collecting NFTs than physical art. I mean, they're just and I know so many people who are not physical art collectors but love to collect NFTs. And then I think NFTs, the technology, will be used for all sorts of different things that, frankly, it's difficult for me to predict. I think, probably they'll probably be used for, provenance of physical assets. They'll probably be used to track all sorts of, financial products on chain. It's almost impossible for me to comprehend. And we actually, the reason that we called the business Nifty Gateway, or part of the reason is because we always said, you could never start Airbnb in 1994. People had to become used to the internet first before you could do something complicated like Airbnb. Yeah. So we always wanted to be a gateway into the NFT world. And then you could discover the really cool use cases. So I don't even know what those are yet. I'm sure there's some there's some crazy use case out there for NFTs that I can't even comprehend. And maybe when it comes around, I'll try and angel invest, or Nifty Gateway will try and do it. But that's really my perspective.
Oh, yeah. Well, in 2040, those kids we were talking about, that's when they'll be entering the job market. So you might get some good ideas from them. You never know. Yeah. carry the company into the future because I've heard some great innovations, and it just takes time. So I'm with you there. But thank you definitely for coming on the show. I appreciate you so much. And again, I want to congratulate you and your brother on starting Nifty Gateway, the acquisition with Gemini, and hope you much success in the future, my brother.
Thanks, Isaiah. Thanks for having me on. I had a great time.
That was Duncan Cock Foster, co-founder of Nifty Gateway. And that's it for this episode of Community Crypto. Every week, we're building a global community with local crypto groups. So be sure to tune in every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern on CoinDesk TV. See you then.